What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Oscar's Cozy Corner, your coziest corner on the internet for all things Disney Dreamlight Valley and beyond. Today is a very special day. It is part 2 of kind of our leak series that we do per update. First part is always the renders on update day, and then part 2 is where friend of the channel, Cole, opens up his valley to give us a look at the items in-game so we can see the footprint, we can see the animations, the sizes, all of those good things. That is what we're going to do today. I'm going to take you on over to his floating islands, give you a better look at each of the items individually. We're going to do it in categories, so we're going to do houses, companions, clothing, all of that sort of thing. Going to go through the list. You can find the timestamps down below. Cole is a leaker from the Dreamlight Leaks Discord, so if you do want to go on over to their Discord and have a look around, join that community, I will leave a link in the description below. They are a wonderful bunch of people, giving us lots of information for the community to enjoy and plan for. But with all that being said, I'm going to stop talking. Let's just get straight into it. I'm going to start with premium shop houses, and let's head on over to Cole's. All right, so first up, I'm going to start with houses. You can see Cole has laid them all out for us just here. So we'll take a look at this first one, which is the Maleficent inspired house. And I believe that is going to be called the Thorny Cottage, something along those lines. It's not, as far as I'm aware, going to be called the Maleficent house, but it is inspired by Maleficent. So you can see here that it's kind of got purple, it's got night thorns, there's moss growing all over the top of it. It's a really nice size. There's some of the nightmarish style wall sconces on the wall just to add a bit of color to it as well. But I actually really like this in terms of a cottage. I feel like cottages and castles are probably some of the more frequent items in the game, but I'm actually not mad at this one, especially because it kind of comes in that pairing with the Aurora one. Now on the top of it, you can see that it does have an adorable little turret, kind of like with a circular spire, and then it does have a chimney letting out some steam or some smoke as well. But on the whole, I really like this one. I love that these windows on the front have LED in them. I love the gold handle on the door. I just think it's a really fun item, and I love the fact that it has night thorns all over it to really kind of like vibe with the base game valley. So this is kind of perfect to fit up in the Forgotten Lands or something like that if you want to do a build up there. Moving over, we then do also have the Aurora version, which I believe is going to be called the Pink Cottage or something like that, but this is the Aurora inspired one. This one does have a very similar vibe and a very similar footprint to the Maleficent one, but it does have flowers all over it. You can see there's actually a little nod to the night thorns at the top window just there with the rose on it. Briar Rose, obviously, I think there's a nod there in terms of the foliage that they've used. I love the paintings, kind of like all over the side of the house in that blue sort of chalky texture. And I do love that you can see the bricks on this one as well. Everything looks really good. I think the color scheme is really pretty. I love that it's not a huge footprint. And I also love that it has this little tree just on the side with the window with the flowers coming out of it. And it still has vines going up the side of the house. So it does give kind of the same aesthetic, just in reverse, which is sort of the whole point of that, especially because we will be getting a dual clothing bundle at the same time. You can see on top of the roof, there's actually a nest with some different colored eggs in it. That also has a chimney and a little turret off to the left. And then we do have a little sign hanging off the edge of the house over here. All in all, I just think that these two are absolutely gorgeous. I love them. I cannot wait to get my hands on both of them. I'm just honestly dreading how much it's going to cost that week when all of this companion stuff is sort of in the premium shop. Bringing us over to the coffee shop. So this is one of these plaza style buildings, kind of in the vein of the ones that we have already. We do have the bakery, of course, and then we do have one or two others that follow this sort of like architectural style. This one does feel quite similar to the bakery, I can't lie. It does feel just like a little bit recolored with a coffee sign put outside, but I do believe you get these chairs. So these are kind of like a hardwood outdoor set. I love these. You often see these in gardens in the UK, but you do get these individually. So you can have the table and chairs separately. And then obviously you do have the actual structure of the building with the little sign on it and the little card sign outside. And then there's some foliage across the windowsill, some lighting off the edges. Not a huge footprint, but I think if anybody's doing a plaza style build, this will go perfectly there. Around the back of it, it's much of the same. It's just kind of the windows. There's actually no window boxes on this side. So yeah, pretty standard, pretty straightforward house for the coffee shop. There is a little chimney at the top. And I think it looks nice. It's not sort of like groundbreaking or anything like that, especially because we do have this sort of style in the game already, but if you love that sort of style and you've got builds in this sort of architecture, you will find it beneficial. And then finally, for the premium shop houses that we've not had in the shop yet, obviously we had the Tiki house this week, so I won't be showing that one. But these are the camping car house skins. Now, we do believe that these are going to be in a bundle, so there is a blue version and there is kind of like a pinky peach version. I'll be honest, these are not my favorite house skins. I actually think they're pretty hideous. I'm not going to lie. The number plate is cute, DDV123. But I don't know. I just feel like when I think of campervan, I personally think VW. And VWs are just, I don't know, they're more rounded. They didn't have to make a VW, but I just feel like this is a metal box with some wheels on. It's not my favorite whatsoever. I know that people have been wanting to make little camping setups, kind of like going with Buzz's RV, but this is not really what I envisioned, I guess. Leave me alone, Jafar. I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there that likes these, but personally, I don't love them. I even just feel like the awning doesn't look that great. Like the colors don't really match. The string lights are okay. I would personally prefer having the string lights as a standalone item. Sell me those. But in terms of these being premium shop houses and kind of a bundle, at least you get two, similar to the Haunted Mansion. But for me, just it's a no for this one. So moving on to furniture. Now these little balloon trees that we saw, and I kind of said in my original video, is it just a tree with 3 balloons on it? They are interactive and they do let off a lot of balloons. So if you put a bunch of these down, you will just have constant balloons leaving those trees and going up in the air. I'm not 100% sure if this is a reference to a movie or anything like that, but it is worth noting that these are not physically interactable, so you cannot turn them on, but you also cannot turn them off. So once you place them down, these balloons are just going to be leaving indefinitely. I do like them. As far as I remember, I think this is just the tree from one of the Lawkeeper rewards in the white pot from Storybook Vale without the pot, and then they've kind of added the balloons to the top of it. I do like that it's interactive, even if it's not physically interactive. I do like that it moves. I do like that it has a little something extra to it. I think it's cute. I feel if you want balloons just going off in your valley all the time, it's a nice little touch. They'll look good in dream snaps, but yeah, I guess functionally, I'm not sure what sort of builds you might use these for, because actually some of the balloons are a different color. There's purple ones coming out, and there's some like peachy ones coming out, but then there's only 3 colors on the top. So I don't really know. This item feels a little bit random, a little bit obscure, but it's there if you want to get your hands on it. All right, moving on to the Under the Sea bundle. Now, all of these items do play music. I'm just going to lower my voice for a second so you can hear. So these are actually interactable with bubbles, so you can turn them on and they will remain on indefinitely. If you fast travel or something, they will stay on. Cole let me know that very kindly. And like I said, they do play music, but one thing worth mentioning is the music for these is actually on the music tab inside of your settings. So it's not on the sound effect settings, which means if you wanted to turn your music off, if you don't listen to the bio music or anything like that, these won't play anything. So that is worth bearing in mind. I do think that these could probably have been part of the star path. Me and Cole were just saying that. They do feel like they should have been part of the star path. And I just said to Cole, these would have actually made, you know, half decent bonus rewards if they just wanted to give us 4 bonus slots this time around of items that we didn't have to make the bonus section feel a little bit more interesting rather than be recolors. They could have just dropped these into the bonus section and I think they would have gone down pretty well. But you do have a little harp here. You do have these drums. This one acts kind of like a trumpet. And then I think this is like, I don't know, a pan flute or something like that. Just a big version of it. It'll go well in a beachy build. It's not my favorite aesthetic, and it doesn't actually match the star path in terms of aesthetic, which is a shame. But I guess they wanted to differentiate it, so it didn't look like they were charging extra. Yeah, this is a bundle, but I don't really have much more to say. Moving on to these topiaries. Now, the one on the left here, this butterfly one, is actually a Moana and an Epcot themed topiary. So it's tagged under Moana, but these are from Epcot. This butterfly one does exist in Epcot, and it does have an adjacent kind of like real life version. I do love the topiaries. I've said this before. I actually nearly made a video on the Epcot Flower Festival saying that we could do with more topiaries because they actually make a lot of their topiaries in the character shapes at Epcot, which I think would be really fun. This one is a decent size for what it is. I think it looks cute. You can see that the actual butterfly has its little, okay, anatomy, I'm not sure. The little antlers, they're not antlers, antennas, and then the nose thing on the back side of it. And then it does have two smaller butterflies in the middle. You can actually sit down right here in the middle now that you can take photos in Dream Snaps. You can't do it in multiplayer, but you could sit down here and take a nice little photo surrounded by butterflies, which is cute. I just kind of wish that they'd place some other flowers on the butterflies. The one at the back looks okay with the two-tone, but then the two down the front look a little bit sad, just being green. They could have just had a little bit more depth to them, but it is what it is. Moving over to the Cactus Mickey topiary. Now, obviously, this is very similar to the pumpkin one that we got. Instead, it is done with different cacti. It has some little string lights on it. I think this one looks cute. I know this is called Mickey, but to me, it reminds me sort of Minnie. It's adorable. I like it. I did say in the original video of the renders, I kind of don't love deserty themed stuff or beach themed stuff, but it goes with the foliage that we have, so I'm sure it'll sit as a nice centerpiece for some people, especially in Eternity Isle and things of that nature. We do also have this little pond. So this is actually not Mulan inspired, even though it looks it. There is a little light over here that lights up, and it does have almost like a little glow coming out of it. And we do have the teapot letting some water out. And then we've got a cherry blossom tree, which does drop petals down into the water, and those petals kind of sit in the water and then disappear. So there is a nice bit of animation to it. Obviously, I said in the renders video that statically it was not great, only because the biggest sort of like feature of this item is this blossom tree, and we already have this. So it feels weird to me to charge for an item that we have. I know that they've kept it pink for like cherry blossom, but I kind of wish they'd even just change the color of the leaves to make it differentiated a little bit from the free one that we do have. Now, I know that it's attached to this teapot and the actual pond itself with the light on it, but I don't know. It just feels like it could have been a different tree for it to be really classed as premium. But yeah, it's not a Mulan item. I believe it's untagged, so it's no IP, so just kind of like a Gameloft original. And I'm sure it'll go really nicely. Maybe Senpai could drop this into his Mulan-themed valley. It would look lovely there, but yeah. I incorrectly labeled this lighthouse as a premium shop. Sorry, a premium house in my original renders video. It is not a house. It is just a furniture item. So this is the Rocky Coast Lighthouse. And I believe, as far as I'm aware, this is tagged as the Little Mermaid. So this is not actually a Pete's Dragon house like everybody was suggesting originally. This is a Little Mermaid item, and I believe that Cole said it is shown very briefly during the film when Eric and Vanessa are on the beach. But the nice thing about this item is it doesn't have an absolutely massive footprint. Obviously, it's much smaller than a house skin would be. It does have this cute little, I don't know, shed on the side, a miniature house, miniature shed with a little chimney on it. And it does, of course, light up. The lighthouse at the top lights up. But the other thing is it can actually be placed on water. So if we come over here, you'll see that it can be placed both on water and land, which is nice. It's kind of a multifunctional item. So if you do have any ponds or anything like that, I'm assuming it can be used in conjunction with the river kit. So you can kind of customize it to your heart's content and place it wherever you want in your valley. And it doesn't take up that much room, which I think is a bonus. Here's a little look at it at night. Again, it just has that light on the top. Nothing really else going on. There's not that much color-wise going on this time, or lighting-wise, even with the premium shop houses. You can see in the background there, Maleficent's house is a little bit green on the windows compared to everybody else's. But yeah, there's nothing really that light up this time other than these. So these are the floating inflatable flowers. Now, these are actually tagged as fairies, Disney fairies, so they are kind of like Tinkerbell adjacent. They aren't much bigger than I thought they were going to be. They do go on water, and I don't believe they go on land, so I guess that's where the floating aspect comes in. But you could rotate these, have a couple of them dotted around, and lit up, they do look pretty nice. The inflatable side of it, don't really understand why. Not really sure why they couldn't have just made these regular plants that light up. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there is a reference somewhere for the fairies, but I think these look pretty cute. And then in the day, they don't have any color or any light, so they do just sit on the water in their natural color. Finally, for furniture, we do have this well. So this is the Neverland well skin, inspired by Peter Pan. I think this is cute. It's the most different well skin that we've had so far. So this is totally different from everything else that we've had. I think it looks nice. It definitely gives Peter Pan. I like that it opens the door for different style well skins, but I would actually forget this is a well, maybe. I know it's got all of the sort of like aspects of the well, but running around when I was running past this in Coles Valley, I was just kept forgetting, and I was like, oh yeah, that is a well. All right, here is a closer look at our only other companion coming this time around. This is Nana with the rainbow fox lurking in the background. You can see she looks pretty cute. She's the same model as Max. You can hear her bark in there. She does have her own custom photo pose, which you will see Cole doing right now. We are seeing that photo pose, and it is the only one between both characters, so male and female. That is the only photo pose. There is no different one for the male players and the female players, and you can kind of see it's very feminine. That bit's not so bad, but that bit is quite feminine, so it is a shame that they didn't split them again, because the base game critters do have male and female poses and kind of like masculine and feminine avatar poses, but it is what it is. Nana looks really cute. Love the little bonnet she's wearing. She's the same size as Max, there or thereabouts. No word yet on whether she has the same features as Max, especially with the digging, because I don't think she's going to be as expensive, but she is very, very cute. The little tail wag is adorable, and she is barking away in the background. She does have the same sort of animations as Max. You can see that little trotting there. I just spoke to Cole, and she does not dig. So I did just confirm that. She doesn't dig like Max, but she does collect sticks. So it looks like any dogs going forward will have the stick collecting feature, but not the digging. The digging does seem exclusive to Max. And I assume that everybody is not going to have dialogue with Nana in the way that they do Max, because a lot of the characters do have dialogue with Nana. All right, so moving inside for clothing and accessories, you will see that this is the Aurora-inspired player outfit. Now, I know a couple of people have said this looks far more inspired by Rapunzel, but it is inspired by Aurora, I'm afraid. Whatever you say, it is inspired by Aurora, apparently in the files, at the very least. But we do have this dress here with the corset on it, and then there are a couple of like metal sort of like armor elements, which I think are really interesting. I think it's cute. It looks very medieval. We do have like the little hip pieces. You can see the corset, the shoulder pads, and then just over here, Cole has separated out for us. So you can see that the helmet comes separately to the dress, and then the boots come separately to the dress. So you can wear those individually, and then you can wear the dress by itself, or of course you can wear them all together, but you can't really see the boots under the dress when it's on, so Cole very kindly split them up for us. But I like these. I think they're cute. I think the dress is cute. I think the same as the houses, the two companion sort of like opposite pieces, very wicked, but I think it works really well, so I'm probably going to end up picking both of these up. And then just opposite, you can see that this is the Maleficent inspired player outfit. Slightly bigger, slightly different on the armor front. It does have like kind of like almost spider webby sort of like spikes to it. I think it's cute. I love the green gem right in the middle of that neck piece. And then Cole is also showing off the staff. Now, we aren't 100% sure if the staff is separate in terms of moonstones. We don't know if the staff will come in a bundle with the dress. So the dress does also come with these boots, which he's shown just here. So this is kind of like a darker version, sort of Forgotten-esque version of the Aurora ones, which we can see here. But then we do get this really cool staff. We just don't know if it's going to be sort of like individually priced, but I think it looks fantastic. I love the glow on it. I absolutely love the circular orb shape, the metal wrapping around it, the little purple bit where the avatar's hand holds it. It does remind me of the staff that we got from the Villain's Tool set, but I think it looks fantastic, and I love these, and I love the concept of having this sort of split shop. The only thing is, it does make it feel more difficult because it feels like you have to buy both pieces. But of course, just buy the pieces that you only want. And then because you can only have 5 mannequins in a room, Cole has also showed off this sunflower dress and the sunflower wings. So the wings do not come with the dress, they are separate. But you can see here that they do actually release petals slowly, and I believe that they release them a little bit faster when you're running and actually using the wings and they're animated. The sunflower dress looks better in person than it does on the render. I actually quite like how the petals look. It is worth noting that the shoes are not separate. They are part of the dress, so it is a costume outfit type thing. So you can only place those on together. But the wings are separate and the headpiece is separate. So the headpiece is on its own, and I believe that you can place that on without having to wear the dress. But it does just kind of look like a scaled down version of that red one that we got, the full face one, around sort of like the jungle getaway update. Not my absolute favorite premium shop dress, but I'm sure that many people will love it. And then finally, for outfits, we do have these additional ones. Now here off to the left is the jellyfish outfit. I stand by what I said in the original video. The sort of like bulbous nature of it throws me off a little bit, especially around the hips. But not only that, there is some clipping. You can see some clipping of the hand going into the dress here, which is a shame. We've had that on a couple of dresses now. I do feel like Gameloft just don't care. They've just said we'll put up with it, so it doesn't matter. But we've definitely had that clipping on a couple of outfits. The shoes look really, really pretty. I really actually like the top that comes with it. So I really like sort of the sleeves and that sort of like, I don't know what it's called. I just know those as boob tubes, but I feel like that's not I feel like that's not their official name. I will say that I do like the detailing on it. Like I like the jewels sort of like dripping off the edge. It does feel very Drag Race. I said this last time, it feels very Detox from Drag Race, but I do wish they would stop bundling everything together. Like the hat is separate, but the shoes and the dress are not. So the shoes and the dress are one piece, and then the hat is on its own. But really, when are you going to be wearing this hat without the dress? I would wear the shoes without the dress, though. So I do wish they would get it together and just give us separate pieces. We deserve it. Moving over here, these are the wings. So these are the moth wings. I think they're called the mysterious moth wings. Now, these are actually tagged A Bug's Life, and I believe that Gypsy in A Bug's Life wears these. It is worth noting that Gypsy's wings do have a different front to them. So if you ever see the A Bug's Life wings from the back, they do have this on the back. So there is actually pictures online. If you Google sort of like A Bug's Life moth meet and greet, you will see that the backside of those wings is this specific pattern. So this is a reference. This has been taken from A Bug's Life, and they are tagged as such. They are pretty. They're smaller than I thought they were going to be from the renders, but yeah, they are a bit garish, perhaps. I did say in my original video that I really like them, and I do like them. But yeah, they are a little bit garish and a little bit loud. So if you don't love loud wings and you like sort of like daintier ones, they might not be for you. But otherwise, I think they look cute. Coming on over to the bow player outfit. This is very Ruffles. Very Ruffles, very frills. The shoes are actually separate to the dress on this piece, so rejoice for that. The shoes are individual, so you can wear them by themselves. They do have some big bows on the back that you can see just down here. There's a big sort of like bustle on the dress, again with bows and pearls and lots of frills. There's a lot of detail on the front. There's some roses on the hips, some more pearls on the actual dress, and then a nice little kind of like pearl necklace that goes up and around the back. It's kind of cute. I don't think this is tagged anything in particular. I do just think this is sort of like an original item from Gameloft. But I like the color of it because we don't actually have that many clothes in the game that are this sort of deep red color. So I think it looks great. Moving over to this linen ensemble. I'll be honest, this doesn't look much better than it did in the renders. I was unsure about it in the renders, and I thought, let me see it in the game. You can see that it does have kind of a linen texture to it. It does have a linen effect, and you do get that, but it's just a little bit boring. For a premium shop purchase, it just feels a little bit boring. The color is muted. I know that linen is usually like cream or white or something like that, but I don't know. The color is muted. The actual detailing on it, compared to everything else, when you look at the blue detailing on this, compared to everything else in this room with the ruffles and the diamonds and all of that sort of stuff, it just kind of looks kind of looks like a touch of magic item and a touch of magic motif just slapped on a basic outfit. Now, I know that's a bit harsh. I'm sure that there's going to be some people out there that like it, but it's not my favorite. And I love linen stuff, but this is the only masculine adjacent item, I suppose. These pants, this update, there is this kind of like tunic thing, this smock. But other than that, that's pretty much it, I'm afraid, guys. And finally, we do have this sailor outfit bundle. And as far as I'm aware, this is entirely separate. So this is called a bundle. So I believe that the hat is separate from the t-shirt, from the pants, from the shoes. So you can wear all of these things individually if you'd like. This is cute. I mean, it gives sailor. It's clear what it is. I did say in the original video, it's kind of like a reverse Donald. So if you did want to match with Donald, then maybe this will be just the item for you. But again, it's just a little bit weak, I suppose. And I take back what I just said about the linen pants being the only pants in the game. Completely forgot about these pants, so at least there are another set. But for now, I'm going to have to stick with my woolly sheep pants. But the sailor outfit is what it is. It's a sailor outfit. There's not much more to say about it. You can see it in the game. It doesn't do anything special. So yeah. All right, gang, that is it for this video. I do hope that you enjoyed a little look at those premium shop items in game. I know that it helps to see the size of them sometimes. I know that it helps to see the animations. It might change your mind on what you saw from the renders to what you saw in game, whether you actually want it or not. I know the balloon tree is one for me that looks much better in game than it does in those renders. So sometimes seeing it in person can definitely make a difference as to whether you want to purchase it or not. And it helps you plan your moonstones and kind of work out what you might need to allocate and where. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to go and check out the Dreamlight Leaks Discord. Again, link is in the description down below. With that being said, I am going to leave it there for today. I will catch you in the next one, and I will, of course, see you in the valley.